The Buddha taught this teaching. Have you heard of the teaching of the, well, put your hand up if anyone's heard the teaching of the 3 marks of existence. Okay, 3 marks of existence is a fundamental teaching in Buddhism. It's a very powerful teaching, very useful teaching. Every phenomena has 3 aspects to it. The first one is called Dukkha, which means suffering. Well, actually, let's do it in logical order. The first one is, let me see if I can remember it. I think it's Anicca, which means impermanent, no permanence. Anicca. I think it's usually spelled in English or in the Roman alphabet, A-N-I-C-C-A, Anicca. Anicca, some people pronounce it. It means transience, impermanence. Everything is transient, nothing is permanent. Okay. Therefore, if you cling to anything, it causes a second, so the first mark of existence is that everything is transient, everything is impermanent, everything comes and goes. If you cling to any object, it will cause you suffering. So that's the second mark of existence, is that it's suffering. Dukkha. Anicca, dukkha. Dukkha means it causes pain and suffering. And the third mark of existence is anatta. Anatta means no self. In Pali, atta means self and anatta means no self. It's equivalent to atman in Sanskrit and anatman. So the Buddha said all phenomena you see in the world and in yourself have these 3 qualities to them. Everything's transient. If you cling, it'll cause you to suffer. If you cling to anything, if you're trying to get a meditation practice, you're trying to get an understanding, it'll just cause you suffering. Yeah. Because no matter what you get, it's eventually going to go. You get your knowledge, you get your understanding of the Vedas, you've read Vivekachudamani, you understand the whole thing, then you're going to forget it again at some point. Or you question it. It's not going to last. You have your transcendental experience of oneness, it'll come and go, as we've discussed. You cling to anything, any experience, anything, causes suffering. And there's the third truth is anatta, which means no self. It means there's no one here. There's just spontaneous activity happening. There's no one here, there's no one there. So in the early Buddhist teachings, Buddha said, what you are is empty of self. And he called that emptiness, shunyata. That's how the word emptiness was used in the early Buddhist teachings. Later Buddhist teachings, the word emptiness was then used to describe the world as well. The world is empty of self, and we're empty of self. So there's this kind of non-duality of emptiness. Everything is empty. And emptiness is not a thing, because it's empty. So non-duality itself is empty. It's an empty concept. Everything is empty of self. There's nothing there to cling on to. Yet clinging, you might still desire and grasp things, but there's no grasping. Grasping might spontaneously happen. Desire might spontaneously happen, but then it's a wholesome desire. It's a natural desire. There's no entity there doing it. So there's no suffering. So everything is just liberated. Everything arises and goes away, and everything is spontaneously liberated all the time. Not in the future. There's no one here. There's no one there. Just spontaneous liberation, 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 liberation. No one doing it. Just spontaneous liberation, moment to moment to moment. No need to purify. No need to practice. It's just the way things are. It's just liberation, total liberation. But not a liberation you can gain. It's the liberation that already is. So that's the 3 marks of existence. 3 marks teaching in Buddhism. Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. Everything, impermanence, suffering, and no self. Whenever you cling, how do you utilize this teaching? Whenever you try and cling to something, whenever you're trying to get somewhere, say, well, is this permanent? Does this lead to something permanent? Or is this all transitory? Is this all impermanent? It's all impermanent is the answer when you look. That's the first mark. So if I cling to this, is this going to cause me happiness? Or is this going to cause me dukkha, suffering? It's going to cause you suffering. Yeah? This removes the vasanas, you see. Once you realize that everything's causing suffering, you stop seeking, and then your vasanas are purified. Third teaching, is there anyone here? Is there anyone there? Is there anyone here? Is the world empty of self? Am I empty of self? There's no one here. You look, there's no self here. So it's just a spontaneous arising. So that I am totally liberated because there's no one here. This is how you can implement the Buddhist teaching of the 3 marks of existence. Lovely teaching, beautiful teaching. This emptiness, because there's no one here, it's liberated, there's a sense of fullness to it. That's why you call it, they sometimes call it the empty fullness, just to confuse you a bit. Sounds cool as well. Empty fullness, yeah, man. Sounds good. Just to juxtapose those two opposite words. It's full. It's not nihilistically empty. It's a natural sense of well-being arises, or doesn't matter. But when you don't care about it, the natural bliss, peace of the self arises.